Korean Mafia boss, saved a flight attendant from a sinking jet, and what followed changed everything. Welcome back to the channel, family. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell so you never miss these incredible stories. Drop a like if you're ready for this one, and tell me in the comments, what state or country are you watching from? Now let's get into it. The plane hit the water at exactly 3:47 p.m. Jinwoo Park had been staring out the window when it happened. One moment, the Korean air flight from Tokyo to Seoul was cruising at 30,000 feet. The next, alarms were screaming, oxygen masks were dropping, and the pilot's voice, strained, barely controlled, was telling everyone to brace for impact. Jinwoo had faced death before, many times. In his 43 years, he'd been shot twice, stabbed once, and survived 3 assassination attempts. He ran the Park Syndicate, one of the most powerful criminal organizations in South Korea. Death was a constant companion, but this was different. This wasn't a rival's bullet or a traitor's knife. This was physics, gravity, the cold, indifferent mathematics of a plane falling from the sky. He braced himself as instructed, head down, arms wrapped around his knees. Around him, people screamed, prayed, cried. Jinwoo just waited. The impact was worse than anything he'd imagined. The plane didn't land. It crashed. The fuselage cracked open like an egg, water rushing in from a dozen different points. The world became chaos. Darkness, cold, pressure, the horrible sound of metal tearing, and people dying. Jinwoo's seatbelt jammed. He fought with it, fingers numb from the cold water already rising past his waist. The cabin was filling fast. Emergency lights flickered, casting everything in a hellish red glow. Finally, the belt released. He pushed toward the surface, toward the gaping hole in the fuselage where daylight streamed through. He was almost there when he heard it. A voice, weak, desperate. "Help, please, someone." Jinwoo turned. Through the murky water, he saw her, a flight attendant, pinned beneath a collapsed overhead bin, water rising toward her face. He should have kept going. Every instinct screamed at him to save himself. He was Jinwoo Park. He didn't risk his life for strangers. But something made him turn back. He dove toward her, fighting against the current of water rushing into the cabin. The bin was heavy, too heavy, but adrenaline gave him strength he didn't know he had. "Hold on," he grunted. "I'm going to get you out." "I can't. My leg." The water was at her chin now. In seconds, it would cover her face. Jinwoo braced his feet against the floor and lifted. The bin shifted an inch, then another. His muscles screamed. His lungs burned. "Pull yourself out." "Now." She wriggled free just as the water closed over where her head had been. Jinwoo grabbed her arm and pulled her toward the surface. They broke through together, gasping, choking, alive. Around them, the plane was sinking. Debris floated everywhere. Bodies too, though Jinwoo tried not to look at them. "Can you swim?" he asked. "I think so. There." He pointed to a piece of fuselage that had broken off and was floating like a raft. "Swim. Now." They made it to the debris, pulling themselves onto the metal platform. It tilted dangerously, but held their weight. Jinwoo collapsed onto his back, staring at the sky. Gray clouds. The distant wail of emergency sirens. They'd crashed somewhere in the Sea of Japan, maybe 20 miles from the coast. "Thank you," the woman said, her voice shaking. "You saved my life." Jinwoo turned his head to look at her. She was young, late 20s maybe. Black hair plastered to her face, uniform torn, eyes wide with shock, but still sharp. Still aware. "What's your name?" "Suyeon." "Min Suyeon." "Jinwoo." "Just Jinwoo, for now." She laughed, a strange, broken sound. "For now. Like we might not survive the hour." "We'll survive." "How do you know?" Jinwoo didn't answer. He didn't know, but he'd survived too much to die floating on airplane wreckage in the middle of the ocean. Not today. Not like this. The rescue boats arrived 3 hours later. By then, Jinwoo and Suyeon had drifted closer to shore, pushed by currents and tide. They'd found 2 other survivors clinging to debris. An elderly Japanese man and a Korean teenager who'd been traveling alone. The 4 of them huddled together on their makeshift raft, sharing body heat, waiting for help that seemed like it would never come. When the Coast Guard finally arrived, Jinwoo felt something he hadn't experienced in decades: relief. They were taken to a hospital in Busan. Jinwoo's injuries were minor: cuts, bruises, mild hypothermia. The doctors wanted to keep him overnight for observation, but he refused. "I need to make some calls." "Sir, you were just in a plane crash." "I'm aware. My phone." They brought him his belongings. Waterlogged, mostly ruined, but his satellite phone had survived. It was designed to. He called Sang-hoon, his second in command. "Boss, we saw the news. Thank God you're alive." "Barely. I need extraction." Busan National University Hospital. Quiet. No attention. Understood. 2 hours. Jinwoo hung up and sat on the edge of his hospital bed, staring at the wall. 147 people had been on that plane. Early reports suggested fewer than 30 had survived. He thought about the flight attendant, Soo-yeon. She'd been taken to a different ward, more serious injuries. A broken leg from the overhead bin. He should leave, disappear back into his world, forget any of this happened. But he found himself walking through the hospital corridors, asking nurses for directions, until he found her room. She was awake. Her leg was in a cast, suspended by a pulley system. IV lines ran into her arm. But her eyes lit up when she saw him. Jin-woo, how are you feeling? Like I was in a plane crash. She smiled weakly. You came to check on me. I wanted to make sure you were okay. I'm alive. Because of you. He shifted uncomfortably. Anyone would have done the same. No, they wouldn't have. I saw people swimming right past me. You're the only one who stopped. Jin-woo didn't know what to say. He wasn't used to gratitude. In his world, people feared him, obeyed him, but they didn't thank him. I should go, he said. I just wanted to see that you were all right. Wait. She reached out, touching his arm. Will I see you again? I don't think that's a good idea. Why not? Because I'm a criminal. Because knowing me puts you in danger. Because I don't deserve the way you're looking at me right now. It's complicated. Everything is. That doesn't mean we have to run from it. A nurse entered, breaking the moment. Sir, visiting hours are over. Jin-woo nodded. He turned to leave, but Soo-yeon's voice stopped him. Room 304. That's where they're transferring me tomorrow, in case you change your mind about complications. He didn't respond. Just walked out, but he memorized the number anyway. Sang-hoon arrived exactly 2 hours later, as promised. 3 men, 2 vehicles, completely inconspicuous. Boss, you look like hell. I feel worse. They drove through the night, back to Seoul, back to the world Jin-woo had built, the world he understood. But something had shifted, some piece of him that he couldn't quite identify. He kept thinking about the crash, about the moment he'd decided to turn back, about Soo-yeon's eyes when she realized she wasn't going to die. Boss? Sang-hoon was looking at him strangely. You okay? Fine, just tired. The news is calling it a miracle. 31 survivors out of 147. They're saying the pilot managed to guide the plane down at just the right angle. The pilot died, I know, but he saved lives. His and a lot of others. Jin-woo stared out the window. Seoul's skyline was appearing on the horizon, familiar and cold. What caused it? He asked. The crash. Still investigating. Engine failure, they think. Maybe maintenance issues. Find out. Everything. I want to know exactly what happened. Sang-hoon looked surprised but nodded. Understood. Jin-woo didn't know why he cared. Didn't know why he needed to understand every detail of a disaster he'd barely survived. Maybe because it reminded him that death didn't care about power or money or reputation. Death came for everyone, even Jin-woo Park. And when it came, what would he have to show for his life? 2 weeks passed. Jin-woo threw himself back into work. There were always fires to put out, rival organizations making moves, police investigations to deflect, business opportunities to pursue. But at night, when the world was quiet, he thought about Soo-yeon. Room 304. He hadn't gone back, hadn't called, hadn't tried to find her, but he'd had his people look into her, quietly, carefully. Min Soo-yeon, 28 years old, flight attendant for Korean Air for 6 years, grew up in Daegu. Raised by a single mother who worked in a garment factory, graduated from university with a degree in hospitality, but took the airline job because it paid better. No serious relationships, no criminal connections, just an ordinary woman living an ordinary life, until a plane fell out of the sky, and Jin-woo Park happened to save her. You're distracted, Sang-hoon observed during a meeting. I'm fine. With respect, boss. You're not. You've asked me to repeat 3 things in the last hour. That's not like you. Jin-woo rubbed his eyes. The crash, it's affecting me more than I expected. You survived a disaster that killed over 100 people. It's normal to be affected. I don't do normal. Sang-hoon hesitated. Can I speak freely? Since when do you ask permission? Since you started looking like you might bite my head off. Jin-woo almost smiled. Go ahead. I've known you 15 years, boss. I've never seen you like this. Whatever happened on that plane, whatever changed, maybe it's not a bad thing. Maybe it's worth exploring. Exploring what? Whatever you're running from. Jin-woo thought about that for a long time after Sang-hoon left. On the 18th day after the crash, Jin-woo went back to Busan. He told himself it was for business. There were syndicate matters to handle, people to meet. But the truth was simpler and more complicated at the same time. He needed to see her again. Finding her wasn't hard. She'd been discharged from the hospital, but was staying with her mother in Daegu while she recovered. Jin-woo drove there himself. No security, no entourage. The address led him to a small apartment building in a working-class neighborhood. Laundry hung from balconies. Children played in the narrow streets. It was a world away from Jin-woo's penthouse in Gangnam. He sat in his car for 20 minutes, trying to decide if this was a mistake. It probably was. He went anyway. Soo-yeon answered the door on crutches, her broken leg still in a cast. Her eyes widened when she saw him. Jinwoo, you gave me a room number. I'm 18 days late, but I'm here. She laughed. That same broken, beautiful sound from the wreckage. You actually came. Did you think I wouldn't? Honestly, yes. You seemed like the type who walks away and doesn't look back. I tried. It didn't work. She studied him for a moment, then stepped aside. Come in. My mother's at work, so you'll have to settle for my terrible tea. The apartment was small, but immaculate. Photos on every surface. Suyan as a child, graduation pictures, family gatherings, a shrine in the corner with incense and a photo of an older man. Your father? He died when I was 12. Heart attack. I'm sorry. It was a long time ago. She gestured to the couch. Sit. Tell me what took you so long. Jinwoo sat. Suyan lowered herself into a chair across from him, propping her cast on a cushion. I wasn't sure I should come at all. Why not? Because my life is complicated. People who get close to me tend to get hurt. I almost drowned in a sinking airplane. I think I can handle complicated. This is different. Different how? Jinwoo hesitated. He could lie. Should lie. It would be safer for both of them, but something in her eyes made him want to tell the truth. I'm not a good man, Suyan. I've done things you can't imagine. The world I live in, it's violent, dangerous, unforgiving. What world is that? The one most people pretend doesn't exist. She was quiet for a moment. You're a criminal. It wasn't a question. Yes. What kind? The kind that runs things, makes decisions, the kind people are afraid of. Should I be afraid of you? Jinwoo looked at her. This woman who'd faced death beside him, who'd invited a stranger into her mother's home, who looked at him like he was a puzzle she wanted to solve. No, never. Then I'm not. She stood, grabbed her crutches, and moved toward the kitchen. I'm making tea. You can tell me everything or nothing. Your choice. But you came here for a reason, and I don't think it was to scare me away. They talked for hours. Jinwoo told her more than he'd told anyone in years. Not everything, not the worst of it, but enough. How he'd been pulled into this life as a teenager. How he'd risen through the ranks. How power had become a cage he didn't know how to escape. Suyan listened without judgment, asked questions, pushed back when something didn't make sense. You sound like you hate it, she said finally. I do, sometimes, but it's all I know. That's not true. You knew enough to save my life. That wasn't a crime boss pulling me out of the water. That was just you. Maybe, definitely. She leaned forward. Can I tell you something? Of course. When I was underwater, pinned, watching the water rise toward my face, I thought about my mother, about how she'd already lost my father, and now she was going to lose me too. I thought about all the things I'd never done, never said, never tried because I was too scared or too practical or too whatever. She met his eyes. And then you appeared, out of nowhere. This stranger who had every reason to save himself but didn't. And I thought, if I survive this, I'm going to stop being so scared. I'm going to take chances. Live. Is that what this is? A chance you're taking? Maybe. Is that a problem? It should be, but it isn't. Jinwoo didn't answer, but the look on his face said enough. He stayed in Daegu for 3 days. They spent every moment together, walking through the city, slowly because of her crutches, eating at small restaurants her mother had introduced her to, talking about everything and nothing. He met her mother, a small woman with Suyan's eyes and a work-hardened face that softened when she looked at her daughter. You're the man from the plane, Mrs. Min said when Suyan introduced them. Yes, you saved my daughter. I was in the right place at the right time. Nonsense. She grabbed his hands, her grip surprisingly strong. You saved her. Whatever else you are, whatever you've done, you saved my only child. That means something. Jinwoo didn't know what to say. In his world, people didn't thank him for saving lives. They thanked him for destroying them. Thank you, he managed. Mrs. Min nodded, satisfied. Stay for dinner. I'm making kimchi jjigae. It wasn't a request. Hey family, quick reminder. If you're enjoying this story, make sure you're subscribed and drop a like. Things are about to get really intense. Now let's continue. Reality returned on the 4th day. Sang-hoon called with news that couldn't wait. Boss, we have a problem. The Choi Syndicate is making moves. They've taken over 3 of our operations in Incheon while you've been away. Jinwoo's jaw tightened. How? They're claiming you're compromised, saying the plane crash broke you, that you're not fit to lead anymore. Who's spreading this? We're not sure yet, but it's coming from inside. Someone's talking. Jinwoo looked at Suyan, who was watching him from across the room, concern on her face. I have to go back. I know, she said. I could tell from your face. I'm sorry, this isn't... Don't apologize. You have your world. I understand. But there was something in her voice, something that sounded like loss. Jinwoo crossed the room and took her hands. I'm coming back. You don't have to say that. I know. I'm saying it because it's true. Jinwoo, 4 days. Give me 4 days to handle this. Then I'll come back. And then what? I don't know. but we'll figure it out together. She looked at him for a long moment. I believe you, against my better judgment, but I do. He kissed her, soft at first, then deeper. She tasted like the tea they'd been drinking and something else, something that felt like hope. 4 days, he repeated. 4 days. The situation in Seoul was worse than Sang-hoon had described. The Choi Syndicate hadn't just taken 3 operations. They'd made moves on 5 more. They were spreading rumors about Jin-woo's mental state, that the crash had traumatized him, that he was no longer capable of leading, and they weren't entirely wrong. Something had changed in Jin-woo. The ruthless focus that had defined him for decades was fractured. He kept thinking about Soo-yeon, about her mother's kimchi jjigae, about the way light fell through the windows of that small apartment. He was distracted, and in his world, distraction was deadly. We need to make a statement, Sang-hoon urged. Something big. Show them you're still the same Jin-woo Park. What kind of statement? The Chois have a shipment coming in tomorrow night. Drugs. We take it, destroy it, send a message. How many men? They'll have maybe 15. We go with 30. Overwhelming force. No casualties on our side. Jin-woo considered it. A month ago, he wouldn't have hesitated. Violence was the language of his world. You spoke it or you died. But now, no deaths, he said finally. We take the shipment, neutralize their people. But no one dies. Understood? Sang-hoon looked surprised. Boss, that's merciful. Is that a problem? No, just unexpected. Maybe I'm changing. Maybe you are. The operation went smoothly. Jin-woo's men intercepted the shipment, incapacitated the Choi guards, and destroyed the drugs. A message was sent. Order was restored. But the rumors didn't stop. Jin-woo Park has gone soft. People whispered. The crash broke him. He's not the man he used to be. The whispers came from everywhere and nowhere. Someone was orchestrating them. Someone wanted him gone. It took a week to find the source. Lieutenant Kwon, one of his most trusted men. 20 years of service. A man Jin-woo had promoted, protected, treated almost like family. The betrayal stung more than he expected. They brought Kwon to the warehouse where such things were handled. The man knew what was coming. His face was pale, his hands shaking. Boss, please, 20 years, Jin-woo said. 20 years? And this is how you repay me? The Chois offered me more than money. They offered me power. A territory of my own. And you believed them? What choice did I have? You're different now, boss. Everyone sees it. The crash changed you, softened you. The organization needs strong leadership, not what? Kwon's eyes flickered. Not a man who's distracted by a woman. Jin-woo went very still. What did you say? We know about her. The flight attendant. We know you've been visiting her in Daegu. We know you're compromised. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Who else knows? Just me, for now. But the Chois are interested. A vulnerability like that, Jin-woo hit him, hard. Once. Kwon fell, blood streaming from his nose. If anyone touches her, Jin-woo said, his voice deadly quiet, if anyone even looks at her wrong, I will burn the Choi organization to the ground, and then I will burn whoever's left. Do you understand? Kwon nodded frantically. I understand. I understand. I won't tell anyone. I swear. Jin-woo looked at him for a long moment. The old Jin-woo would have killed him, would have made an example that no one would forget. But the old Jin-woo was dying, had been dying since he turned back in that sinking plane. Get him out of my sight. He told Sang-hoon, put him on a plane to somewhere far away. If he ever comes back to Korea, then we'll have a different conversation. You're letting him live. I'm trying something new. Sang-hoon didn't question it, just nodded and signaled for the men to take Kwon away. After everyone left, Jin-woo sat alone in the warehouse, thinking about what Kwon had said. A vulnerability. Soo-yeon was a vulnerability, a weakness his enemies could exploit. The smart thing would be to walk away, never see her again, protect her by disappearing from her life. But Jin-woo was tired of being smart, tired of living by rules that kept him safe but left him empty. He wanted more than survival. For the first time in his life, he wanted to live. He went back to Daegu, not 4 days, as he'd promised, 7, but he went. Soo-yeon was waiting for him. Her cast was off now, replaced by a walking boot. She could move more easily, though she still limped. You're late, she said when she opened the door. I'm sorry. Things were complicated, I know. She pulled him inside and kissed him before he could say anything else. I was worried, she admitted when they finally came up for air. I'm fine. You don't look fine. You look like you haven't slept in a week. I haven't. She led him to the couch and sat him down. Stay here. I'm making you food. Soo-yeon, you can tell me everything after you eat, but right now you need rest. He didn't argue. Couldn't. The exhaustion was hitting him all at once. The weight of everything he'd been carrying. He fell asleep on the couch waiting for food. When he woke up, 8 hours had passed. Soo-yeon was in a chair across from him reading a book. Morning, she said. Or evening, technically. Jin-woo sat up, disoriented. You let me sleep. You needed it. I came here to talk to you, not pass out. You can do both. Sleep first, talk second. She set down her book. The food's cold, but I can reheat it. Don't. It's fine. He ate cold rice and soup while she watched him. Something happened, she said. In Seoul. Something bad. Yes, tell me. So he did. Everything. The takeover attempts, the rumors, the betrayal, the discovery that his enemies knew about her. Soo-yeon listened without interrupting. When he finished, she was quiet for a long moment. So, I'm in danger now. Because of you. Yes. And you came here anyway. I came to warn you. To protect you. To what? Jinwoo looked at her. To ask you to come with me. Come with you where? Seoul. My world. I know it's asking a lot. I know it's dangerous. But I can protect you there. I can keep you safe. And what would I be doing while you keep me safe? Hiding? Waiting? Whatever you want. You could work or not work. Have anything you need. I would take care of everything. Like a prisoner. A kept woman. No. Like a partner. Someone I want by my side. Soo-yeon stood and walked to the window. My mother is here. My life is here. I have friends. Colleagues. A career. I know. You're asking me to give all of that up. I'm asking you to consider it. I know it's not fair. None of this is fair. No, it's not. She was quiet for a long time. Outside, the sun was setting. The apartment filled with golden light. When I was in that water, she said finally, drowning, I thought about all the things I'd never done, all the safe choices I'd made, all the times I'd held back because I was scared of what might happen. She turned to face him. I don't want to live like that anymore. I don't want to be scared, but I also can't just abandon everything for a man I've known for 3 weeks. I understand. Let me finish. She crossed back to him, took his hands. I need time. Not forever. Just time to figure out how this could work. Whether this could work. How much time? I don't know. But I'm not saying no. I'm saying give me a chance to find a way. Jinwoo looked at her hands in his. Small, strong, certain. I can give you time, as much as you need, and you'll wait. I've waited my whole life without knowing what I was waiting for. Now that I know, I can wait a little longer. She smiled. That's probably the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me. I'm not known for romance. Maybe you should be. She kissed him again, soft and slow. Stay tonight, she murmured. Just tonight. Tomorrow you can go back to being a crime lord. What about your mother? She's working late. We have a few hours. Jinwoo hesitated. Is this a good idea? Probably not, but I'm done with good ideas. I want to feel alive. He couldn't argue with that. The next morning, Jinwoo left Daegu with a promise. He would give Soo-yeon the time she needed. He would protect her from his enemies, and when she was ready, he would be there. The months that followed were some of the strangest of his life. He continued running the organization, but differently. More carefully. He delegated more, trusted more, created systems that didn't depend on him being present every moment. He started building something new on the side. Legitimate businesses, clean money, an exit strategy. It would take years to complete, but for the first time, he could see a future that didn't end in violence. And he visited Soo-yeon every week. Sometimes more. Quick trips stolen between meetings and crises. They talked on the phone every night. The relationship deepened slowly. Carefully, she met his lieutenants. Visited his apartment in Seoul, learned the contours of his world without being consumed by it. Her mother approved, to Jinwoo's surprise. He's dangerous, Mrs. Min said to Soo-yeon, but he loves you. I can see it in the way he looks at you. That's worth something. Is it worth the danger? Only you can answer that, but I'll tell you what my mother told me. A safe life isn't always a good life. Sometimes you have to risk something to gain something. 6 months after the crash, Soo-yeon made her decision. She arrived at Jinwoo's penthouse in Seoul with 2 suitcases and a nervous smile. I quit my job, she said. My mother's moving to a smaller apartment. She says she doesn't need the extra space anymore. I sold most of my things. Jinwoo stared at her. You're sure? I've never been less sure of anything in my life, but I'm doing it anyway. Soo-yeon, I love you, Jinwoo. I've been trying not to, but I can't help it. You're infuriating and dangerous and complicated, but you're also kind and brave and somehow exactly what I never knew I needed. She set down her suitcases. So yes, I'm sure. Terrified but sure, Jinwoo crossed the room and pulled her into his arms. I love you too. I know. You're not as mysterious as you think. I'm very mysterious. You made me breakfast in bed last time I was here. With a heart-shaped pancake. That was an accident. Sure it was. They held each other for a long time, neither wanting to let go. The first year was hard. Soo-yeon had to learn a new world. Its rules, its dangers, its complexities. There were moments when she wanted to run, when the fear became too much. But Jinwoo was patient. He gave her space when she needed it, pulled her close when she needed that. He introduced her to the legitimate side of his business, let her carve out a role for herself. She started managing one of his charitable foundations. A cover, technically, but one that did real good. Scholarships for students from poor families, support for single mothers, medical care for those who couldn't afford it. You're good at this, Jinwoo told her after watching her run a board meeting. I've always liked helping people. I just never had the resources before. Now you do. Now I do. She looked at him seriously. I want to do more. Expand the foundation. Make it real. Not just a cover, okay? Just okay? It's your project. Do what you want with it, and if it conflicts with your other interests, then we'll figure it out together." She smiled. "You're different, you know, from when we first met." "Different how?" "Softer. Happier. More human." "Is that a compliment?" "The highest one I can give." On the anniversary of the crash, Jinwoo did something unexpected. He arranged a memorial, private, just the survivors and families of those who'd died. A ceremony on the shore where the wreckage had been recovered. Soo-yeon helped him organize it. They invited everyone. The elderly Japanese man they'd shared the debris with, the teenage girl who'd been traveling alone, families they'd never met but who'd lost parents, children, siblings. The ceremony was simple. Flowers released into the sea, names read aloud, prayers offered in multiple languages. Afterward, the Japanese man, Tanaka, they'd learned his name, approached Jinwoo. "Thank you for this," he said, "for remembering. We survived together. We should remember together. My wife died on that plane. We were flying back from her sister's funeral in Tokyo. Now I've lost them both. I'm sorry. Don't be. I had 40 years with her. 40 good years. That's more than most people get." He looked out at the sea. "You know what I think about every day since the crash? Not how I almost died, but how I was given more time. Time I didn't earn. Time I don't deserve. I know the feeling. Do you?" Tanaka turned to look at him. "Then use it well. Whatever you were before. Whatever you've done, you have a chance to be different now. Don't waste it." Jinwoo thought about those words for a long time. 2 years after the crash, Jinwoo had transformed the organization. Not completely. That would take more time. But significantly. The violent operations were largely shut down. The drug trade was gone entirely. What remained was gambling, some smuggling, and an expanding portfolio of legitimate businesses. His enemies had tested him during the transition. The choice had made another move, been repelled. A younger syndicate had tried to fill the vacuum, been absorbed, but Jinwoo was tired of fighting, tired of the endless cycle. "I want out," he told Sang-hoon one evening. "Out of what?" "All of it. The organization. The life." Sang-hoon was quiet for a long moment. "Is this about Soo-yeon?" "Partly. But mostly it's about me. I've been doing this for 30 years. I've made more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. I've outlived almost everyone who started when I did. What's the point of continuing? What would you do instead?" "I don't know. Travel. Rest. Actually live the life I've been accumulating wealth for." "And the organization?" "I'd transition leadership. To you if you want it. Or to a council. Something that doesn't depend on me." Sang-hoon considered. "This isn't just about being tired, is it? This is about something else." Jinwoo hesitated. "Soo-yeon is pregnant." Sang-hoon's eyebrows shot up. "Congratulations." "Thank you. But it changes things. I can't bring a child into this world. I can't raise a son or daughter to inherit what I've built. You want to give them a different life. I want to give them a real life. One without fear, without violence, without the weight of my sins." Sang-hoon nodded slowly. "Then we'll make it happen. It'll take time. A year. Maybe 2. But we'll find a way." "You're not going to argue? Would it change anything?" "No." "Then why waste the breath?" Sang-hoon smiled slightly. "You've earned this, boss. You've paid your dues. If anyone deserves to walk away, it's you." The transition took 18 months. Jinwoo was careful, methodical. He settled old scores peacefully, where he could. Eliminated threats that couldn't be negotiated, built alliances that would hold even without his presence. He installed Sang-hoon as leader of the organization, with a council of senior lieutenants to keep things stable. The structure was designed to prevent any one person from accumulating too much power. And through it all, Soo-yeon grew round with their child. She was radiant. Terrifying sometimes, pregnancy hormones combined with her already formidable personality, but radiant. "If it's a boy, I want to name him after my father," she said one night. "What was his name?" "Jung-ho. Jung-ho Park. It's a good name." "And if it's a girl?" Jinwoo thought about it. "My mother's name was Hee-young." Soo-yeon smiled. "Hee-young Park. I like it." "You're not going to argue?" "Why would I argue? You never knew my father. I never knew your mother. This way, they're both part of our family." Jinwoo pulled her close. "How did I get so lucky?" "You weren't lucky. You were brave. You turned back when you could have kept swimming. I've made a lot of bad decisions in my life. Then maybe it's time to focus on the good ones." The baby came on a Tuesday. A girl. 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Perfect in every way. They named her Hee-young, and Jinwoo cried when he held her for the first time. "She looks like you," Soo-yeon said from the hospital bed. "Poor thing. Stop. You're handsome in a terrifying way. Is that a compliment?" "The highest one I can give." Jinwoo looked at his daughter, this tiny creature who had no idea what her father had been, what world she'd almost been born into. "I'm going to be different," he said quietly. "For her, for both of you. I know you are." "How do you know?" "Because you've been different since the day I met you. You just didn't realize it yet." 5 years later, the Park family, Jinwoo, Soo-yeon, and little Hee-young, lived in a house on Jeju Island. It wasn't a mansion. Wasn't anything ostentatious, just a comfortable home with a garden and a view of the sea. Jinwoo had retired completely from the organization. Sang-hoon sent occasional updates, but Jinwoo rarely responded. That life was behind him. He spent his days gardening, playing with his daughter, cooking for his wife, simple things that he'd once thought were beneath him. They were the most satisfying things he'd ever done. Appa, Hee-young came running from the garden, her dress covered in dirt. I found a bug. What kind of bug? A big one. Come see? Jinwoo let himself be dragged across the lawn to examine a beetle his daughter had discovered. That's a stag beetle. They're very strong. Stronger than you. Much stronger, proportionally. What's proportionally? It means compared to their size, they can lift more than I can compared to my size. Hee-young considered this. So if I was a bug, I'd be super strong? You're already super strong. I know. She grinned. Mama says I get it from her. Your mama is a wise woman. Soo-yeon appeared on the porch, watching them. Lunch is ready. Both of you wash your hands. Especially you, Hee-young. You're covered in dirt. I was exploring. You can explore after you eat. The girl ran inside, beetle temporarily forgotten. Jinwoo walked up to the porch, slipping his arm around Soo-yeon's waist. She's incredible. She is. Exhausting, but incredible. Thank you. For what? For everything. For that night in the hospital. For not giving up on me. For this life. Soo-yeon leaned into him. Thank you for turning back. For not swimming past me. I almost didn't. But you did. That's what matters. They stood there for a moment, looking out at the sea. The same sea that had almost killed them both 5 years ago. Do you ever think about it? Jinwoo asked. The crash? Sometimes. Usually when I'm flying. But it gets easier. Does it? It does. Because every time I think about how close I came to dying, I also think about how much I would have missed. Hee-young, this house, you. She turned to look at him. I would have missed you, Jinwoo. That's the thought that scares me most. You have me now. I know. And I'm grateful every day, even the hard days, especially those. From inside, Hee-young yelled, Appa, Mama, the food is getting cold. Soo-yeon laughed. We're being summoned. Better not keep her waiting. She's terrifying when she's hungry. She gets that from you. Lies. They walked inside together. Into the warmth, into the life they'd built from wreckage. Epilogue, 10 years after the crash. Jinwoo stood at the memorial site, the same shore where he'd organized the first ceremony a decade ago. The stone monument they'd erected listed the names of everyone who'd died. He came here every year on the anniversary, sometimes alone, sometimes with family. Today, he'd brought Hee-young. She was 10 now, old enough to understand. All these names, she said, running her fingers over the engraved stone. They all died in the crash? Yes, but you survived. And Mama survived. We were lucky. Is that why you saved her? Because you were lucky. Jinwoo knelt down to his daughter's level. I saved her because she needed help. Because even though I was scared, even though part of me wanted to keep swimming, I couldn't leave someone behind. Would you do it again? 1,000 times. Hee-young was quiet for a moment. My teacher says you used to be a bad man. Before Mama. Is that true? Jinwoo felt something twist in his chest. Yes. I did bad things. Things I'm not proud of. But you're not bad anymore. I'm trying not to be. How do you stop being bad? You make different choices. Every day. Even when it's hard. Even when the old way would be easier. Is it hard? Sometimes. But it's worth it. Hee-young took his hand. I think you're good now, Appa. Really good. Thank you, sweetheart. You're welcome. She looked back at the monument. Can we put flowers? For the people who died? Of course. They placed the flowers they'd brought. White lilies for peace. At the base of the stone. As they walked back to the car, Hee-young asked one more question. Appa, yes? If the plane hadn't crashed, would you and Mama still have met? Jinwoo thought about it. No, probably not. So, something good came from something bad? I suppose it did. Then maybe that's why it happened. So you could meet Mama and have me. Maybe. I think so. She nodded with the certainty only a child could have. I think everything happens for a reason. Jinwoo didn't know if that was true. Didn't know if there was a grand plan. A cosmic purpose behind the chaos of existence, but he knew this. He had been drowning, in more ways than one, when that plane hit the water, and somehow, impossibly, the crash had saved him, not just his body, his soul. He looked at his daughter, this miracle he didn't deserve. Thought of Soo-yeon waiting at home, probably making dinner, probably singing off-key like she always did. Everything happens for a reason, maybe, or maybe not, but either way, Jinwoo was grateful. He was home, and home had found him, family. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If this story touched your heart, smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment and let me know what you thought. And don't forget to hit the bell so you never miss our next story. Until next time, take care of each other, and remember, sometimes the worst moments of our lives become the beginning of our best ones. You never know when everything is about to change. See you in the next one.